Down in his trench, the private dreamed of sailing on the sea, riding the waves, the wind in his face. But when his
Toy Soldiers was a game developed by Signal Studio and released in 2010. It was a cult classic tower defense game and something I would quickly recommend to every fan of the genre. Soon, however, they are going to release a remastered version of this classic game, so I thought I'd chime in on what made this game so fun in the first place. The story of Toy Soldiers is basically non-existent. You play as a bunch of toy soldiers reenacting battles from World War I, with you playing as the British fighting against the Germans. There aren't any characters and the plotline is that of history. The real draw here is the gameplay. As mentioned earlier, Toy Soldiers is a tower defense game. You have a toy box as a base that you'll defend against an onslaught of enemy soldiers. To do this, you'll build various turrets that you will unlock and be able to upgrade further as you progress through the campaign. Said turrets take the form of all-purpose machine guns, anti-vehicle motors, long-range howitzers, close-range gas throwers, and anti-air guns. Each one fills a purpose, and none of them really feel useless in the grand scheme of things, although I find personally that building as many howitzers as you can will solve most problems. You'll have to plan out your turret formations carefully though, keeping in mind their ranges, what they're good or weak against, and planning what to upgrade first. Each turret is upgradable to a max level of 3, with each upgrade feeling really substantial. There are very noticeable increases to damage and fire rate, with some upgrades drastically changing how the turret works. But what really changes how the turret works is you. In Toy Soldiers, you won't just be watching from afar, but getting directly involved in the action. While your turrets will fight automatically, you have the ability to take control of any turret you own. Manually controlling it will generally allow it to perform better. You can also generate more revenue by taking out enemies yourself instead of letting your turrets do it. I really like this feature as it gives you a sense of impact on the battle. You can also take control of the odd vehicle and battle your enemies that way. Some maps encourage using them to explore, to find breakable targets to give you more money, or the collectible golden cubes you can find. There's also a special task at each level that gives you a collectible for your ration box. That's the gameplay in a nutshell, so let's move on to presentation. Graphically, I think Toy Soldiers holds up well. There's a lot of charm in the designs of the units and the environments, as all the models are, well, models. Sure, you could say they don't look as fancy or detailed as they could, but you could also say they look appropriate for being children's toys. I like how if you look around, you can see the borders of the diorama that is your battlefield, as well as the room surrounding you. Sound-wise, I think Toy Soldiers is very charming. There's a lot of old-timey sounding tracks, as if you're hearing it from an old radio. I think it suits the more fun idea of toys battling, rather than a more serious soundtrack that a war game might warrant. There's also something fun about hearing the firing of your turrets, or the big imposing themes of the boss battles. Toy Soldiers is fondly remembered for good reason, and it's not like it went unnoticed. There were 2 DLC campaigns featuring the French army and a playable German army fighting against the British secret weapons. After the initial game, they developed a sequel called Toy Soldiers Cold War, taking place in more modern times. I never played this game, but I've heard some good things about it. Following it, however, was Toy Soldiers War Chest. This game went more in on the toy aspect, allowing you to fight as several toy factions, including G.I. Joe and He-Man figures. A good idea, which sadly wasn't received well for various reasons. Despite all that though, the original game is still a beloved classic. So much so that, again, a remaster should be released by the time this video is out. Time will tell if it's any good, but it seems like the studio behind it has good intentions, with them also planning to make a genuine Toy Soldiers 2. Regardless of what the future holds, I'll always be able to recommend the original game, so go check out Toy Soldiers.